All right, ladies and gentlemen, after a long day of Super Metroid racing, we are finally to the final match of this Dash randomizer tournament featuring Maniacal, the overall number 3 seed, versus Sloaters, the overall number 1 seed. My name is Kip. I am very happy to be back on commentary for you, or with you guys one more time, and I'm joined by Tracy M. Tracy, what do you think about this final match?
Oh, I'm excited. I keep saying this because I'm friends with so many of these people, but again, two of my really good friends playing for the championship, and couldn't ask for a better setup.
Absolutely. This is going to be fantastic. I think everybody knows that both of these guys are exceptional runners. Sloaters definitely has the advantage in terms of, pure speedrunning experience. Maniacal, on the flip side, a good speedrunner for sure, but one of the brightest runners we have when it comes to randomizers. I've talked with him several times just to get his opinions on certain things about randomizers and how to think about them. And let me tell you, he's operating at a level far beyond me. So usually when he talks, I only can understand about half of what he's talking about.
Yeah, Maniacal, definitely one of our most intelligent runners out there, but Slaughter's no slouch in that department either. So be interesting to see exactly how these guys go about it. If either one of them tries to get an edge, um, we just got Morph Ball to start off with, so we'll see what's in the ceiling.
That's right. And as you mentioned, this is the final match of this Dash randomizer tournament. I hope everybody out there in the chat has enjoyed it today. And I hope you guys give Dash a try. I think it's got some great potential, especially for racing. I hope we have more events in the future. I just want to say one thing about my involvement putting this thing together. Part of the reason I wanted to put this together was because I talked for a long time about how I really wanted there to be a one-day tournament in Super Metroid. And everybody just kept saying, like, yeah, that'd be awesome. And then it never ended up happening. And so I finally just said, well, I guess I'll just try to put one together. So if you guys want to pay me back, just organize another one and let me be in it this time.
Well, I'll stick with organizing the league. These one-day things, what you did for setting this up, kind of takes my job there and condensed it into a very short period of time. So.
Yeah, but to be serious for a minute, I have been the beneficiary of a lot of people's hard work throughout the years with a lot of other tournaments and stuff. So this is a small thing for me to pay the community back a little bit. I hope everybody has had a good day, but there's been a lot of people that have put on some awesome events over the years. So this should be all right. Maniacal getting on the elevator to Old Mother Brain Room. Couple second lead here. We already got bombs and morphine ball. That bomb at the beginning means that we will see a BT fight if they elect to go to BT.
And
that also means, bombs has been the chance of getting early bombs has been increased a little bit in our logic, but it's not. It's still less likely than getting a power bomb as your first explosion progression. But when you get the bombs early, it's really nice because that means that wreck ship now is a lot more viable.
And both runners went ahead and checked the Old Mother Brain spot, and was rewarded with some power bombs, so we don't have to worry about any kind of major ammo hunts going on here.
That's for sure. One thing I will say about, I think I have a pretty good understanding about how both of these guys run because I've watched a lot of their races, and obviously, as you mentioned, they're both good friends of ours. I would not be shocked to see Maniacal play slightly more aggressive than he normally would, because he doesn't have anything to lose, and he knows that Sloaters is probably going to have the movement edge. So we might see him, make some checks or do some skips that he might not normally do. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see.
Yeah, starting with going ahead and checking out the so-called 230 missiles location. Gets just a missile pack there, but that could come in handy later on.
Yeah, I'm sure he did that on purpose. He doesn't normally do that. So it could either be that he's planning something in advance, or it might even be, it's not completely impossible for that to be yep, see, there we go.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep, I really like the play. He knows in advance that there's a good chance that's going to be an E-tank down there, and he knows that he's incentivized not to go there because of the fight taking a few seconds too. So this is a great play by Maniacal, and understanding his role in this matchup, and then finding the speed booster. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, having that speed booster early, really a nice find. Both runners will benefit quite well from that.
Without question. Speed Booster, in my opinion, I truly believe, and this is not memeing, I think Speed Booster is the most overpowered item in the game. It's probably the most fun item too. We had this discussion another time, but I know everybody loves Spring Ball, and Spring Ball is great. But Speed Booster lets you do way more stuff than any other item in this game, so it's got to be the coolest item.
Wait, what happened to your high jump boots?
I didn't say best item. I said coolest
Okay.
item. Coolest item. High jump boots is definitely the best. Oh, look at those intended strats, baby.
And a Spazer. Probably going to pick that up at this point. The speed booster makes it less useful, but since we don't have plasma beam, little extra firepower never hurt anyone.
I do want to say something because I feel like it's pretty easy for people to assume. Like, I promise y'all, we did not, hand select any of these seeds. In fact, I had no idea what any of them were when we rolled them or whatever. But I've noticed there's been a lot of them that have had Spazer early, and so I don't want anybody to think that we're doing that to like promote the changes to Dash. You're no more likely to get it earlier or later than you used to be. So it just kind of turned out that a lot of these seeds got rolled this way.
And Maniacal gonna go ahead and pick up that extra power bomb. I like that because now he doesn't have to worry about having that 15 power bombs if they don't find ice.
Hey, real
plus
quick,
it gives him that crystal flash.
Bold prediction, Tracy.
Yep.
Do you think Maniacal might skip any other major items coming up?
I think it could happen.
I thought he would skip this one right here. This one seemed like a pretty good one to skip. But yeah, to your point, he's already got that crystal flash ammo. Very useful for those hell runs.
Well, it's a good thing he didn't.
Yeah, if I had skipped this item, I would have justly been punished for that one. And Sloater's doing the rare Varia skip. Did y'all see that?
He'll get it on his way out.
He's like, I don't need that. Okay, so both runners having their Varia suit. Gonna head down to Big Pink to collect a few more items. They do actually have access with the Speed Booster and Spazer Beam here to not only the normal Charge Beam and Wave Gate items, but they can definitely get down to that waterway location as well.
Yeah, Maniacal gonna have to be careful here with these side hoppers with no E-tanks. That big side hopper still can do a lot of damage even with that Varia suit.
Be honest, Tracy, have you ever died to that large hopper?
I think once.
Yeah, it's definitely happened to me.
Yeah. It's not, yeah, usually it's, you're just not being careful. Usually you're not going to die to it if you're aware of it, but it's very easy to just not think about it for a moment.
For sure. I'm of the opinion it's Super Metroid's one of those games. It's like, if there is a way to die, you will find a way to do it. Like, you will find a way to die from everything. I haven't seen a single person struggle with that super shot today. That's a good job. That trick isn't always easy.
And oh baby, there's my favorite item.
Well, put it in the chat, Trace.
I will absolutely do that. Okay, Maniacal is gonna have to again be a little bit careful because that 74 energy is really iffy whether that's enough to get him through this Shine Spark. He might want to farm up a little bit, or he could just use Spazer.
He needs to probably lay a power bomb. He does. If he's not careful, he's gonna run into one of these fish. Okay.
There we go.
I can guarantee you just about everybody's died that way when they first start playing.
Yeah, because what can happen if your Shine Spark runs out in the middle of that area? It will kill you. Because you're only going to have 29 energy, and at that any of those enemies are going to basically kill you right away. Although with Varia suit, he maybe... No, I think even with the Varia suit, I think that's still too much damage. Gravity suit, he might be okay.
I gotta be honest, the novelty of watching Spazer break those blocks still hasn't worn off for me yet. Every time I see it, I'm just like, that's pretty cool. All right, let's see if Maniacal decides to grab this tube missile or whatever it is. I think it's a good call to get it no matter what it is, pretty much. Even if it's a power bomb, I'd probably still grab it here. He's going to skip out on that missile, though. The ratio of supers has been, pretty drastically reduced. You don't really see the sort of crazy high numbers that you sometimes see when the ratio is a little bit higher. But 15 so far early is, in my opinion, pretty solid. You're probably not going to see that many normally.
And to your point, especially in the old total randomizer, the regular total randomizer, you would easily see there's a glitch that would happen when you get above 95 supers. And actually, it wasn't unusual to see that in the total randomizer with that 3-3-1 ratio.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, that 3-3-1, and then I believe in the league it's 3-2-1.
So the league is a little more, with the ratio being what it is and not being an exact number, you still have seeds with that really high number of supers, but it's not quite the same as what would happen in the total randomizer.
For sure, and in a league setting, I think that's a good call. And in case anybody hasn't been around for a lot of the commentary today, one of the reasons we changed the distribution numbers of missiles, supers, and power bombs in this particular randomizer was to accent the style of fights that we were looking for and the ammo considerations. Sometimes when supers are too, prevalent, they end up dominating a run very heavily, and so a lot of times the boss fights end up being, pretty easy if you're an experienced runner. So by removing the number, it makes the ammo collection a lot more of a decision, like an actual legitimate decision, as opposed to just, pretty much finding whatever you need fairly easily.
So interesting situation here. So Maniacal had that bit of a lead from skipping Bomb Chorizo. Sloaters is now caught up, both in terms of E-tanks and in terms of, because he skipped the X-ray E-tank. So Maniacal's going to have to most likely make another play of sorts to pull this one out, or perhaps Sloaters makes a mistake. We do see high jump boots, so these runners definitely good they went down. I suppose Gravity Suit could be in the wreck ship, but they will be able to at least full clear both. We'll be able to full clear all of Norfair in one go, which is always nice.
Right, and Maniacal could technically get some of that time back if Sloaters, later on chooses to go check that item if he doesn't get what he needs in Norfair. So we'll see.
But right now we're going to do Kraid.
Good old Kraid. We got 2 items in this location. These are technically Brinstar locations. In the past, these locations could not hold Gravity Suit, but they can in this Dash randomizer. So it is possible that they get a suit either here or in the energy tank room.
Sloaters with a nice quick kill. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2.
Yeah, that was very nicely done. What do we got for Maniacal here?
And just an E-tank for Sloaters. And we get 2 for 2 quick kills.
Have you ever noticed that if you use the charge quick kill, and maybe even sometimes with the other one, that you can actually fire the supers at exactly the rhythm of the music?
I'll have to pay attention to that. Actually, haven't.
Every time it happens, my brain goes there immediately. It happened earlier today, again, in one of the races.
I don't know, that might if I can make that work somehow, maybe I can make my quick kills more consistent.
I'll be honest with you, when I'm working on strats for any of my runs, I use a lot of audio cues with music. You'd be surprised how many different places that you can line certain things up with rhythms. It's kind of weird, but it's pretty.
Okay, Sloaters did see the E-tank at the E-tank location, decided not to pick it up. Let's see what Maniacal chooses to do with it. And Maniacal does decide to pick it up.
Nice strat entering the ice location for sloaters there, using a little bit of that speed running tech. And also using a nice new route situation there because he pretty much had the item set that he would normally have. Only finding an energy tank.
Yeah,
Probably
Sloter's not picking up E-tanks.
Yeah, not
He's
right
got the
now.
3 he needs.
He's probably gonna go grab everything at high jump boots, and then I would assume Frog Speedway over to Bubble Mountain. We'll have to wait and see.
It'll be interesting to see if either one of these runners decides to go straight to Lower Norfair and skipping out on Bubble Mountain, for instance. Although with this ammo count and just Spazer and the starter charge, that could be a really long Ridley fight.
Indeed. Ooh, reserve.
Ugh. Not picking that up. I don't think Maniacal's going to pick that one up either, although he has picked up a couple extra energy tanks.
This is kind of an ironic seed for Maniacal because his last 2 races in a row, neither one of them had any movement items other than Spring Ball.
Yep.
And so he did the entire run without, all that great tech. And then this run, he's got all the good movement items, I guess, other than Spring Ball. He's got everything like in the first 12 minutes or whatever. Yeah. Slutter's demonstrating some nice tight movement here. We got Maniacal picking up this reserve tank. Let's see what we got here at this first Bubble Mountain location. He also has a chance to pick up a minor item. We'll see if he chooses to get it. He might check for supers. Oh, we got the vanilla charge beam.
Okay, well that at least takes our Ridley fight to 150 shots. That number I know. I haven't actually kind of sat down and calculated what all the shots are with the starter charge beam.
Yeah, I feel you. With Ridley in rando, or really anything, I guess, but especially in dash, if I can have 15 supers going in, I will, and I'll just shoot until he turns pink and then unload the rest. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they choose to do. I think what would be an interesting decision for Maniacal is everybody memes on Croc, but for the most part, people don't want to go to Croc. It's usually one of the last places checked. I wonder if look at that gravity suit on Sloaters. I was going to say it'd be interesting to see if he went there early, but at this point we know that it can't really have anything that he needs.
Yeah, with that gravity suit there, that's actually really bad for Maniacal. There's the more straightforward the seat is, the more of an advantage.
This one has definitely turned out to be what I would call a sort of seed that would be to the advantage of Sloaters. And again, it's not because Maniacal isn't a good runner, but Sloaters is literally, in terms of the people playing randos, he's one of the best pure speedrunners we've got. And anytime that you equip him with those kind of items, it's going to be really difficult to keep up with him.
Yeah, the advantages that Maniacal have all deal with more trickier situations, trying to decide where the right place to look for items is, that sort of thing. But with everything on path, that is definitely to Sloaters' advantage.
For sure. And as I've mentioned in some of the other commentaries, though, I do like the fact that some of these seeds are tricky and slow and some of them are fast, because I think it's good to have diversity. I like the fact that different runners, have to adapt to different circumstances, as opposed to one being too dominant.
Now what we might see Maniacal go ahead and skip the wave beam item, seeing that gravity, so he might just book it right down to Lower Norfair. That would gain him back a little bit of time.
I'm going to make a bold prediction that Sloaters goes for and hits a lava spark right here. Let's go.
Definitely
not going to do it.
Cooler tricks.
He's opting for the gravity jump. I think that's a prudent decision. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. He has space jump. He don't even need to do that. Did do the so-called chronic boost, which is a pretty cool strat in its own right. I'm notoriously bad at remembering I have space jump. I probably would have tried to do something trickier. Well, I mentioned it in chat earlier. It's so stupid because you actually have your animation changed when you have it,
I know, right?
but it's easy to forget sometimes.
Okay, so Maniacal does decide to check this item, sees the reserve tank, doesn't pick it up.
Slutter's barely missing that short charge there. He's just going to drop 2 power bombs. He's got to make sure those power bombs are pretty hugged up against the walls to make sure they clear everything out. And
yeah, if you don't do that, it's going to be you'll need to put down a 3rd power bomb.
That's right. And then Slotter's doing a very nice worst room in the game, new route style. Even though he has space jump, that was pretty much the identical strat you would see in a new route run. So Slotter's getting to flex that new route experience there.
Okay, Maniacal about to head into his lower Norfair. Sloater skipping the GT item. I suspect Maniacal will also skip it.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, what could it have that you would want? I mean, I guess really
Plasma
the only
or
thing.
ice.
Yeah, I was gonna say plasma is, you know, gonna help a lot with time in terms of boss fights, and ice obviously is one of the great utility items of the run. But other than that, you know, it's kind of hard to justify check that slow for only 2 items.
I mean, I guess Screw Attack would be also a nice item at this point. These runners don't really need it though.
Yeah, it would definitely help. I'm confident that Sloters would not feel uncomfortable exiting lower Norfair with, you know, plenty of health without it, but it still would be certainly more comfortable.
Yeah, well, you know, I think you and I have talked about this before. Lower Norfair is my favorite part of the game, especially in randomizer, because the different possibilities of items you can have in Lower Norfair is so diverse. You can have everywhere from, we saw some of the runs that Maniacal did where he had very little movement items, anywhere to just having everything, and both are fun in their own rights. And it's just fun to see the different diversity of ways you see the lower Norfair part. And Maniacal does check the item. It is just an E-tank.
Yeah, it was a little unfortunate. I don't necessarily completely, you know, I don't hate the play at all. Even a knee tank might be somewhat useful. You know, he might want a little bit more energy, you know, without having some of those other items like plasma or screw, like you mentioned. But Slotter's farmed back up to 20 supers. I think that's a great call. Oh, baby, we got some special beam plasma attacks.
Or Spazer, the golden shower. Yeah, the one thing that I will say about Maniacal's choices, I'm a little surprised that he's been checking as many after he'd skipped the bomb chorizo. I kind of thought, I think we both were on this thought that he was going to skip more of these kind of checks, and so I'm a little surprised that he's checking more of those items.
True, but he also might be thinking, I mean, I don't know what he's thinking because he's way more cosmic brain than me about this stuff, but he also could be potentially thinking like, well, crap, you know, this is a fast seed. There's still a few items out there that could be very beneficial. Sloters probably won't check anything else. Maybe if I get lucky and ice beams there is something I can gain some time back, but unfortunately, you know, it was pretty much a whiff with the E-tank.
Yeah, and the other, although the one thing I will point out in terms of the E-tanks, Sloters has been skipping those E-tanks, and as good a run as Sloters, as good a run as any of our runners are, there's a reason why a lot of any percent runs don't make it all the way through, and one of the reasons is they only do the 3 E-tanks. So Maniacal might be thinking that maybe if I play it a little safer, if Sloters makes a mistake, that I have a shot at winning it.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say that, you know, if this were a, you know, quote unquote, like a perfect tournament or whatever, like that was truly balanced. Obviously with rando, oh, we got a nice screw attack there. That'll make getting out real comfy. But you would probably want to do like best of 3 at minimum, just for the balance purposes. Right now, with it being a 1-run scenario, you know, if you get a seed that's really to the play style of your opponent or whatever, then it's a difficult situation.
Yep.
But at the same time, in a 1-day tournament, when we're trying to get 16 players to complete an entire tournament within a 12-hour period, it's impossible to do that. So maybe one day we'll have an additional tournament for stuff like this. Sloters had a very nice Ridley fight. and he's going to be quickly making his way out here. Maniacal, on the other hand, is heading down to get his fight going. We'll have to wait and see if he chooses to farm. I think he'll probably farm a few supers beforehand.
Yeah, this is quite a few, like I said, without any ammo usage. This is a 150 shot fight, so it wouldn't surprise me if he decides to farm a little bit extra.
I guess we haven't mentioned yet during this particular race, but these runners are racing for cash prizes. The top 8 runners of this tournament are going to win some form of cash. This is the biggest single game in terms of the price difference. The second place runner of this race will receive $90, and the first place winner will receive $150. So I'm sure both are very happy that they're this far into the money. But still, $60 on the table, that's not too shabby. I'd be excited to race for $60.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Oh, Sloaters almost got that 6 short charge right there, but just unfortunately a little off on the timing and bonked. But that's a very difficult strat to get.
Yeah, there we go. There's Maniacal going to go ahead and farm up a little bit.
Yeah, earlier today, I think it was against Fruit Bat Salad maybe, or Zeb, and I think it was against Zeb. Maniacal farmed 6 of these Zebos or whatever at the end of his Ridley fight and went 6 for 6 on supers. And even now, he's getting a bunch of supers, man.
You just jinxed him.
I think so, man. It's tough, man. But see, this is another thing. A lot of people, I guess, when they're talking about the theory behind this, if you look at what Maniacal's doing, imagine especially not having the full charge beam here, which happens fairly frequently. He's having to invest a lot of time to farm these supers, but it's still a good investment because if he didn't, the fight would take even longer, right? So just because you have a starter charge beam, or even if you have charge beam, when you have way less supers, it really affects how you can maneuver speed-wise through some of these sections.
Yeah, absolutely. Sloaters, in the meantime, going to head over to Meridian, no doubt.
Sloaters. Oh man, that is so funny when that happens. I don't know if anybody caught that, but there's a little hole up there where you can go up and farm bugs or you fall through, and if you just accidentally jump at the very wrong time, you end up going up in that hole. And it always feels terrible because you don't expect it to.
Yeah, that hole, the little spot that if you're playing the game for the very first time, you're probably going through that forgotten highway, and you fall down that hole, and you end up back into an area you've already been to, and you're like, wait, what?
Exactly.
Nothing. You found nothing. You got nowhere.
We got Maniacal employing some really rad power bomb strats. If you guys notice, Ridley hates power bombs, and he will literally do everything possible to try to get out of the way, unless you can kind of trick his AI into not really knowing where to go. There's a certain rhythm and kind of placement to it that makes it harder for him to move. But most of the time, if you lay one, especially in the middle of a fight, he'll just go to one of the corners and try as best as he can to get away. So these can double hit. They do 200 a hit, but you can do double for 400.
Yeah, you notice that Maniacal is trying his best to land those power bombs in the middle of the room to do the maximum damage that way. Problem with that, I thought maybe Solas would just use the Spazer Beam to get through that, since that's all he has in terms of beams, but he did end up using the speeder and a nice little short charge there.
I can't believe he's doing these Spazer SBAs against Botwoon. That's amazing. So I mentioned earlier, we're still working on some features. We want to, continue to update and do some things with this dash randomizer. The only SBA in the game that I can think of that doesn't really have any use anywhere that anybody's really found is the plasma one, ironically. So we've been talking about some options for it. One of my ideas is that maybe you can have the plasma SBA consume a power bomb and give you back some energy or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
We'll see. I don't want it to get too out of whack, but I want it to be something different, not just maybe something for damage. So we'll see what we come up with.
Yeah, Sloater's checking a little bit of extra ammo, probably figuring slightly brain fight. Doesn't pick up missiles, though. Probably would have picked those up if they were supers.
Yeah, Sloater's had the gorgeous full halfy there, which is definitely one of the most hype, strats and maybe traditional strats of Super Metroid. He's probably gonna go for a 3 Shine Spark kill here on Dragon. Let's see if he can execute and if Dragon will cooperate.
Yeah, Speed Booster best, and he employs the gold shower there. But yeah, Speed Booster in this situation, probably the best thing in his arsenal. It's good that I would do an ammo kill or just do charged Spazer shots. So we don't have plasma, we don't have grapple beam, and yeah, very nicely done by Sloaters there. It's a blue suit. Looks like he changed it to a spark suit.
He missed the spark suit.
Oh, he missed
Unfortunate, or excuse me, the spike suit. Yeah, he did it on the wrong frame. That's a trick that requires you to basically, it's like double frame perfect, and if you're 1 frame off, it'll actually, not only will you miss, it'll take it away from you.
Yep.
But it'll be okay. He's got space.
Yeah, I'm picking up that wave beam, so that'll take, not counting ammo, take his mother brain fight down from 150 shots to 86. I often like to call this the bad math beam combination because it's the only one that doesn't divide evenly into 18,000, which is the number of hit points that both Ridley and Mother Brain have.
That's funny. I've never heard of that before. I like that. Let me post my I Heart Math emote in the chat. There we go. So yeah, Sloaters now, he's just going to make his way up to Fantoon GT Classic style here and try to knock out the Ghost. And this is going to be a really fast seed.
It really is.
I don't think he'll check any more items. Having that wave beam is actually, pretty helpful versus Mother Brain. It'll still be a little bit of a long fight, but not too bad. And yeah, he's going to finish this super fast unless anything weird happens. Let's see if chat decides to give him a baby hug for the rest of the run.
I think we turned that off.
But yeah, thank you to everybody who donated for the crowd control because it's really good that we raised a lot of good money for SG Live 2020. I mentioned in the chat, I'm going to do everything possible to continue to promote and try to raise some funds for the Super Metroid tournament. And I don't know if it'll happen, but my goal is to try to help one of the Super Metroid tournaments to be one of the main tournaments this year. So, because I mean, let's be honest, there's no way you can make any kind of argument that any other game is the best speed game, right? It's got to be Super Metroid. I don't think anybody could possibly have a different opinion.
Well,
so it needs to be one of the tournaments.
It's where it all started, the Metroid games, keeping track of your in-game time, first with the Metroid 2. I mean, even Metroid 1 kept track of your in-game time, although they don't display it at the end of the game. But Metroid 2 giving you an in-game time, and then Super Metroid with that in-game time. So, at the very beginning, yeah, we used in-game time, not real time, but...
That is a great point.
It's kind of where it all started.
But yeah, I mean,
kind of even right. Yeah, I think it really is where it all started.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, to be serious, we got a great community. Super Metroid really is a super fun game. You know what I mean? Like it's a blast to play. I've been playing it for 3 years now, and
no, you've been playing a lot longer. You've been speedrunning it for 3 years.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I played it when it came out when I was a kid.
Yeah, same.
But knowing what I know now versus what I did 3 years ago when I started quote unquote speedrunning it is it's a lot. I know a little bit more now. So so yeah, it keeps me coming back. It's a fantastic game, and it's good to see people run it and do all these tournaments. Oh, baby, we got a fast.
Sloater's only with 1 missile, though, out of those 40.
Yeah, he
He's gonna have
got
to farm a little bit.
he did an unfortunate thing earlier too, when he checked those locations looking for ammunition and got only a power bomb and a missile too. So that location hasn't been super kind to him today.
Oh, that was a little bit early on that super, so we're gonna see a little bit of pseudo screw strats here from ahead and drive this part of the fight. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. He had screw attack, and yet he was still using. But whatever, he survives it. He hits that one last missile, which is usually the case when you fire this early. It's usually one missile away. So
that muscle memory is too strong, and sometimes the muscle memory isn't even your hands; it's just your mental process. Oh, I enraged Fantine. I better charge a shot. Looks like Sloaters is going to check this final location over here. My assumption is he's looking for Ice Beam or Plasma here. And it's a pretty fast check.
Really nice. And gets Grapple Beam.
He wanted Ice Beam or Plasma beam, but he got the Grapple Beam. Feels bad.
Yeah, Grapple Beam has some great uses, all of which we already passed. Definitely wasn't going to grab that now.
We ought to change Grapple Beam to where like you can connect it to a electrical socket like at Dragon and actually like load it up with electricity and then unload it later, and so you could actually use it against Mother Brain. That'd be pretty rad.
That'd certainly be a new one.
So Maniacal's going to get his Dragon fight started. Sloaters with the absolutely disgusting strat there to get across the moat and into the pre-moat room. And I think we're going to see him refill. He would not refill here, I don't think, if he had Ice Beam. But knowing that those Metroids will only drop one drop each when killed by a power bomb, I think he's like, I'm just going to roll and get this thing started.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance he'd be okay. But yeah, one drop from the Metroids. His supers were low enough. This is just, I think, a smarter thing at this point. Smarter play at this point.
I agree. Well, you know, assuming nothing bad happens to Sloaters and Torian, this will most likely be the fastest, it's probably by a pretty long shot actually going to be the fastest seed of the tournament. So it's pretty fitting that the finals would be of something called Dash would end up being fast. So.
Maniacal gonna pick up his wave beam. He was ready to turn around and leave that item behind. It's one of those things that's pretty common in a randomizer when you check an item and you don't expect it to be anything good, and you have to turn around and say, "Oh wait, I do want that."
Yeah, Maniacal obviously doesn't know, you know, what Sloaters is up to, or where he is. He probably, I mean, we'll see when we talk to him, but he probably doesn't feel super great. Right now, he probably expects that he's behind, but he also knows that there's still a chance he could be ahead if Sloaters happen to go up to begin with. Unfortunately, the chances of going up are, for most people, are probably reduced when you get Varia that early. So it's not looking super.
This seed did not point to going up at all. When you get Varia, yeah, like you say, it's pretty common to want to go down at that point, and that gravity location pretty much confirms that that was the right call. And you know, the wreck ship probably has that ice and plasma beam, although we don't even know that for sure. Could be there's several locations in Meridia we didn't check. We didn't check Croc, so there's definitely a lot of other places that we can see those items.
Yeah, and the last several seeds have been fairly quick, not super fast, but we've had several faster ones today. But some of the ones off stream and earlier in the day, some of them were pretty crazy. I think Hero and Zost in the round 1 match had if you went exclusively by the logic, it had a double suitless Meridia dip, which is pretty rare. It was Varia at Mama Turtle, Gravity at Botwoon.
Yeah, you don't see that a lot, especially in totals. League Season 1 had a lot of those. with slowest logic. That wasn't a super unusual occurrence, but don't see that nearly as often. With even their season 2 logic, it has changed up enough.
That's right. And a beautiful baby skip.
Yeah, well, finally I get to call a race where we have the items for it too, so we get a baby skip. Certainly you need high jump for it. Space jump, speed booster makes it, and wave beam especially makes it easier. Sloaters actually having all of those items, so was able to do it.
I really got to point out, obviously we got a lot of great runners in Super Metroid, but I think the more you watch and especially the more you play, the more discerning eye you have for movement. And let me tell y'all, Sloaters is legitimately right now, like a lot of times the speed of a Super Metroid runner isn't even in like the most obvious big tricks. It's a lot of the small nuances. And he is absolutely on fire right now. He is like playing extremely crisp. This is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I often say this about Super Metroid, maybe more so than any of the other games. You can really see a style in different runners play that you don't necessarily get in a lot of the other speed really to watch.
That is definitely true. It's so funny. I've actually thought about this before, especially with the runners who play all the time. That people watch a ton of their streams and their runs. If they were to make an alt account and try to start running as someone different, you could probably tell who they were just based on their strat choices. It's almost like listening to guitar players. They'll have their own kind of style or whatever. But Maniacal getting rid of the ghost very easily there, and the Sloater's in the middle of his fight with Mother Brain here. We should be coming up on catch up fairly soon. Wow, nice dodge by Sloaters there.
Yeah, I believe he has 1 reserve, so he's got a little bit of leeway here. Plus 4 in E-tanks instead of 3.
I got to give a shout out to Aussie real quick. Aussie qualified for the tournament but wasn't able to participate because there's some blizzards where he lives and it knocked out all the power. So that was very unfortunate. But he messaged me earlier and was telling me some stuff, and he mentioned how his favorite thing about Dash is the Mother Brain fight, because in a lot of other randomizers, you're either way overpowered on your beams or you just have tons of ammo. And so, this one is not even one of the slower Mother Brain fights, and it's still, taking a good bit of time, so you really have to know what you're doing to survive this fight. So it's cool to see us have a little bit of those longer fights happening. I always enjoy seeing that. But that's going to do it, man. Sloaters is done. No stand-up. He's just got to wait this cutscene out, and he's good.
Yeah. Not enough E-tanks, not really worth it with this beam combination anyway.
I always thought the subtle animation of Samus facing forward but then looking up when the baby comes in, I always thought that was really a nice touch. Dirt makes a good point. What if we had a tournament where we did speed runs, but you didn't know who the players were? It was just like, player A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, or whatever, and then people had to try to figure out who each runner was. That'd be pretty hilarious. So I think Maniacal will probably finish the 4th Metroid room right around the time Sloaters, or maybe the baby Metroid room right around the time Sloaters finishes. It's kind of hard for me to gauge completely, but So he definitely, I mean, Maniacal gave it hell in this match. He played really well, to be honest with you. For
Oh,
Maniacal's
absolutely.
expectations, I think he played really well. And making it into the finals is certainly a feat unto itself anyway. But this has been a great match. Both of these guys have been very helpful with the dash preparation, and I'm glad that they were able to race in the finals. It's been a good day.
Yeah, just like we said before, the seed was way too straightforward for Maniacal in this case. There was really nothing he could do to get himself any kind of advantage. Sloater's movement just too good.
And we got one more Shine Spark coming up here for Sloaters. Gonna get a little Behemoth Spark action here. Got him. And ladies and gentlemen, after a full day of Super Metroid racing content, we have a champion of the Dash Randomizer Tournament. Congratulations to sloaters27 with an official SRL time of 45 minutes and 58 seconds. GG to Sloaters for taking down first place. He was the #1 seed and was the champion of the tournament today. Congratulations to him. Awesome.
Yes, and very well done. You know, his last race, his race versus Zenny, which was really cool. He had it. You know, he certainly faced his share of opponents here that gave him a tough ride. But this one, yeah, this seed was just meant for you could just go fast and well.
That's right. This one it's almost like the seed had speed running in its heart. Just go fast.
Yep.
So we'll have Maniacal finish up here so we can close out his tournament on a high note. This was still a great run by Maniacal, as I mentioned before. Looks like he's going to use the ammo to knock down these Zebs, which is probably what I would do. I'm not a huge fan of going for the speed Zeb skip because I think it's really hard.
I know Maniacal can do the speed Zeb skip, but it's not one of those things it's just going to get. So, yeah, I think this is a good choice on his part. He's got more than enough ammo to do the Zebs and to do Mother Brain 1.
Well, for the sake of saving a little bit of time here at the end, let me just go ahead and give out a few shout outs and say a few thank yous. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to the community of Super Metroid because, you know, you never know who's going to participate and who's going to come and support these events, but we had a lot of runners who were extremely supportive, showed up to the qualifiers, were very excited about Dash, gave me some good ideas, and tons of people who, you know, maybe didn't run but wanted to volunteer their time to help me with comms and tracking. So what you guys see today is the result of a ton of people putting in a lot of hard work. A lot of times I think people don't realize exactly how much effort goes in behind the scenes. So, you know, this would not have been possible without Tracy, you, and everybody helping me out all day long. With that said, I also want to just kind of take a moment to brag on Feasel. I know everybody says good stuff about him all the time, but we're really lucky to have someone like Feasel in the speedrunning community that is capable of putting on events like this. And on top of that, a super nice, supportive guy. When I approached him about, you know, this idea and knew how much work would go into it, I didn't know if he would be down for it. Not only was he down for it, he was super supportive, gave me tons of ideas, answered questions all the time. So obviously, you know, nothing of this caliber happens without someone like him leading the helm. So thank you very much to Feasel and everyone at SpeedGaming. There's a lot of people doing these restreams and setting things up that, you know, wouldn't be possible without them. So thank you very much. And yeah, that's it. It's been a fantastic day for me. I'm really proud of what we did today, and I hope everybody out there enjoyed yourself. So GG.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, there's a whole lot of people behind the scenes that I hope we'll get a chance to mention, because it wasn't just we had several people commentating, we had several different people tracking. just a whole lot of behind the scenes work. The not just Feasel, but also Mind of Mead, spending most of the day helping us set things up. Because as good as Feasel is, he can't do all the speed gaming stuff by himself. So
Wait, you mean he doesn't press every single button for all these like
no,
18
he
speed
doesn't.
gaming channels?
No, but without him, I don't think we'd have a speed gaming. And so definitely someone that's super important in all the running community. I met him at SGDQ last summer. Super cool guy. So definitely certainly shout outs to him and the rest of the speed gaming crew. And we will watch Maniacal finish this out because he's close enough that he may as well. And always good to go out on a finishing note here.
Most definitely. When I first started speedrunning Super Metroid, Tracy, I remember distinctly I wanted to see two things. I wanted to see a league, and I wanted to see a one-day tournament. I've been talking about those things for a long time. And at this point, we've checked them both off the list. We've
sure
had multiple leagues, thanks to you and a lot of the people with the Randomizer League. And we've now had a one-day tournament. So, and we got a bunch of people working on relays and stuff. It's just so cool how many opportunities there are to do stuff with Super Metroid in the community.
Yeah, it's just amazing how well this game has stood the test of time.
You know what else is really exciting about today, Tracy?
What else?
I racked up a ton of channel points or whatever for SpeedGaming.
You know what? So have I.
I'm about to have a bunch of backwards emotes up in here.
Okay, Maniacal finishing up his escape.
Oh, he did my he did my moonfall there, which is you go for it and then
And
jump
miss
too
it.
high and miss, and you end up wasting more time. That's
I am a
that's
veteran of that
special.
move. And Maniacal going to finish up here with an official SRL time, 53:06, which is still a really, really good time. You just happen to be facing Sloaters, one of the best. So GG's to Maniacal.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic tournament by Maniacal. Getting second place is very hype. In the meantime, we are joined by our champion, sloaters27. Sloaty,
Yeah,
congratulations
Sloaters.
on being the champion of the one-day tournament.
Thanks, guys. I'm feeling pretty good, man. That seed was incredibly generous.
Yeah.
I mean, like every movement item at the start, pretty much, and the suits were like pretty much right there at the start.
Yeah,
So
sometimes it just works out that way, you know?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, it does.
So tell us a little bit about your experience for the day. I'm sure you're probably tired, but at the same time, did you have fun, you know, like racing and then having to wait for your next race and seeing who you had to play and stuff like that? Like, what was the experience like for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was awesome. I mean, what was really cool about it is after, like, I was done racing, there was like another race for me to watch like right after, like in between while I'm taking a break, you know.
For
So
sure.
it's like, in a sense, it's kind of like, you know, the relays and like marathons we've done before, where it's like, yeah, you might just have one small part in the day, but it's like an all-day event where everyone's just hanging out, having a good time, watching Super Metroid. So I'm really glad that you hosted this, Kip, because it's a really cool experience for our community to have events like this.
Yeah, no problem. It was my pleasure. And obviously, I just kind of get excited about being able to feature you runners like, you know, like you and Maniacal and the rest of the people that race today. Obviously, you guys are really good and have put a lot of time into, you know, becoming better speedrunners and rando players. So it's cool that you guys get a platform to do that. But yeah, so which match do you think, not necessarily in terms of opponent, but just seed, which seed that you ran today do you think was kind of the most challenging?
Probably the one with Zenny, just because I had a pretty difficult decision in whether I wanted to do the suitless lower Norfair or go hunt Varia. Like, I was pretty much back and forth until, like, you know, the room where I had to decide if I was going to do it or not. So probably that one, I'd say.
Yeah, that one was pretty crazy and had a lot of options. This one, as you pointed out, you know, didn't really allow that much options for decisions. It was a little bit more straightforward. But I think, are we joined by Maniacal? Did Maniacal?
Yeah, I'm here. GG Sloaters.
Good game, man.
Yeah, Maniacal, congratulations on getting second place overall in this
absolutely.
tournament. Fantastic performance. We were talking a little bit about the strengths of both you guys, and I was mentioning that you're like one of the most cosmic brain you know, runners when it comes to understanding how to make decisions and stuff like that, randomizers. Unfortunately for you, this particular seed didn't even really allow that many choices given the kind of upfront nature of it. But tell us a little bit about what you thought about the seed and the experience overall today.
Well, we'll go with the experience overall, and it was fantastic and exhausting and just a great time. I hope we're able to do more community events like this in the future. I mean, I know you and I have talked a good bit about having wanted to do like a one-day tournament and how cool that sort of thing would be. And to see that idea come to fruition, really, you know, on the back of all of your efforts, was great. I didn't do crap for it. I just kind of signed up and ran some qualifiers. But congrats on putting together a really nice event, Kip. And thank you to SpeedGaming and all the you know, folks who've rallied behind it to get it off the ground. But really, this was your brainchild, and I think it was a fantastic success. I had a blast. I think most people who did had a blast. I'm really looking forward to going back and watching a lot of the matches, because while playing, like, you're completely in the crucible, and you get these, like, it's 3 hours and then the next one starts sort of thing. And so it was back to back all day. Like, all I did was basically run and then go eat food, come back, set up stream for the next race, and get ready to go again. And so I didn't get to consume as much of the content. I kind of caught bits and pieces here and there, but you know, it was very nonstop, which I loved. I thought a one-day tournament there might be, you know, more breaks, but as it turns out, there really weren't. And so it was nonstop. It was a blast. I'm you know, super privileged to have been able to participate at all, and then to have been able to play as many rounds and play against as many great players as I did today. Feeling very, very fortunate for that, and really am happy that I got the chance to engage this like that.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, man. And I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Sloaters just a second ago. Forget your opponent for a minute. Let's just talk about the seeds. Which of the seeds that you played today do you think was the most challenging for you?
Gosh, if I can. So the one against Zeb and the one against FBS were basically the same seed.
Right.
They kind of played out the same. And this one was definitely not challenging, which was a little unfortunate, because I felt like the only edge I can potentially have in a matchup against Sloaters is to outroute him, because I'm not going to outplay him room to room. He's just so much better of a runner than me in a generic Super Metroid sense. And so this one really didn't give me much to leverage, unless he made like a real cosmic brain play somewhere that like took him way off the the route, but it's clear that that did not happen. But like my outs were pretty limited with this one in terms of things that Sloaters could have done to mess it up.
Well,
But-
yeah, his last race against Zenny, he went to Shack Tool and Spring Ball was
Yeah,
there, and so I was wondering if he might do that this time. Like, well, I don't have Spring Ball yet. I better go to Shack Tool and check to see if it's there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you will not see me end up in Shack Tool in Dash in more than maybe 1 to 2% of seeds. That's being generous, I think. Like it's a very low value location in this particular format because it is behind gravity. And so like you really need to be like convinced that Shack Tool's the thing. But if you know Spring Ball's there, you go get it.
For sure.
Absolutely.
But I want to open it up real quick to both y'all, and then Tracy, if you have any other questions, you can feel free to ask. But if you guys have anything else you'd like to say, feel free. I would like to know before y'all leave, kind of what y'all are up to. Like, what are you up to right now in your streams? Are you in any other tournaments? Like, give us a little idea about what else we can expect to see from you guys in terms of content.
Well, I'm working on low percent Super Metroid right now, trying to get a 51.
Kip, he's
As far
going after
as-
you.
Hey, I'm happy to have
Hey,
somebody running
in
it.
one day. But as far as tournaments go, I'm going to be in the SM Rat tournament coming up it's going on right now. They have like qualifiers, but outside of that, yeah, that's pretty much all I'm doing.
Yeah, it's been kind of quiet lately for me too. I've been really busy with work, and so I've been kind of trying to limit my engagements a little bit. But I do try and do the SMZ3 weeklies as often as I can make work. But I've just been actually working on learning Yoshi's Island lately, which has been a lot of fun to do. But I'm pretty bad at it still.
Dude, those runs are so comfy. I love listening to the music and listening to you talk about the strats. That's a fun game.
Exactly. I love the speed tech in that game. I think it's one of the top Super Nintendo speedruns, and I think it's really underappreciated. Despite it being a Mario game, which is like really crazy for how good of a speedrun it is, and like how many pieces of speed tech and like how comfy the game is just in general. And then like the fact that it sees a lot less traffic than a lot of the other Mario games like Super Mario World and Super Mario Brothers and things like that. Kind of surprises me, but I've been having a blast with it. It, like you said, the music and the aesthetic is really top notch. So I've been having a good time with that. But yeah, I'm not really in any tournaments right now. This was, I guess, the last one for me for a while. I'll see what comes up, and I'll try and engage things as the opportunity arises.
Well, thank y'all again for participating. And before I let you guys go, I just want to say I know that the fall can be kind of a hard time sometimes to take off from work or go to an event, but I can be pretty convincing. I'm going to work on you guys for the next several months to try to get both of you guys to go to SG Live 2020, because I definitely plan to go again this year. I would love to be able to hang out with y'all some more and do some fun speed running. And obviously, we're trying to get this randomizer tournament at SG Live 2020 to be a big event. So hopefully I can see you guys there. And thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you, Kip, for putting the tournament on. Thank you, Sloaters, for the race. Kip and Tracy for the commentary. SpeedGaming for hosting this all day. It's been a blast. Like I said, I'm looking forward to taking a step back and just firing up all those VODs and checking out how the day actually played out and getting to enjoy the races again.
Yeah, I'm in the second everything Maniacal said. This was a really cool event. I'm really looking forward to watching all the other matches that I kind of didn't watch super intensely on the breaks. But yeah, thank you, Kip and Tracy, for the commentary, and SpeedGaming for hosting this. It's been really fun.
You're quite welcome, gentlemen. Y'all have an excellent night. Well,
Yeah.
Tracy, real quick, as my co-commentator and co-organizer, you did a ton of work for this, so I really appreciate you very much. Tell us a little bit about Rando League real quick. Give us a little promotion for what's happening.
Oh,
with the
sure,
Rando League.
absolutely. So we are getting close to wrapping the Rando League up. We've had some IRL issues with some of the runners, so gotten a little bit slowed down. But we do have, hopefully this is the final time. We've had to reschedule this match a few times. Right now we have scheduled tomorrow. It's going to now be at 4 o'clock. We have Azure versus Zeb going at it in game 1 of their semifinal, and game 2 scheduled for 7 o'clock Monday. Keep an eye on the Randomizer League Discord, those of you that are in there, in case any of those changes, as we had some unexpected issues already, so I just put that out there. That but hopefully that will happen. The winner of whom is going to, I don't know if I remember who the winner's playing. Maybe you can help me
Whoever's
out with
already
that,
in the
Kip.
finals must be pretty good. I mean, good grief. I mean, clearly he didn't participate in today's tournament because he didn't want to, shame everyone. But that'll be okay.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Kip is already in the finals and is waiting. So gonna be a whole bunch of great races coming up there, and then we're gonna take a break for a while because as Kip has found out, organizing things is a lot of work, and but there will be a season 3. We just don't know when.
It sure is. But again, I think I'll just kind of keep it there. I think we've said all the thank yous we need to say. It's been a fantastic day. I really appreciate everybody coming out, watching, and supporting, and just having a good time. So with all that said, Tracy,
I'm going to interrupt you because there's actually a few more thank yous I want to put out, because
okay,
I talk about this all the
go
time.
right ahead.
The trackers, Dimensive in particular, if I'm not mistaken, did 5 races tracking, including 4 in a row early in the day. That is a lot of tracking.
What a boss.
If you haven't done tracking, I've done tracking and I'm bad at it. It's a lot of work, and he's done a lot of it for us today. Also, Plumpst doing 2 races, including the crowd control race, which has got to be crazy with all the. At one point, no one was sure if Space Jump or not because people kept giving it to him. And also on SpeedGaming 4, we had Daniel Collin doing a couple races and Cassidy Moen doing a couple races. And I wanted to make sure that those guys do get shouted out, because that is a lot of work behind the scenes to help us out, to make sure that Kip and I, or whoever else is doing commentary, doesn't have to worry about it.
That's the truth. The real talent, I've said it before, is totally true. The real talent is the tracking. I mean, it's so hard to do. So Dimensive and Daniel, Cassidy, and Plumpst really came through hard for us today. And Insane Firebat,
Insane
too.
Firebat coming in at the last minute and giving Dimensive some time off.
Yeah, and IFB helped me to get some of those races set up. And obviously, you and I did commentary all day. Rumblemans, Mass Hysteria, and Lunaris, Hockey Towner, and Poplars.
And Plumpst even did some himself. So
yeah, and I think Cross Product came in and TG Derp. So
yep,
just a fantastic day of teamwork. Can't thank everybody enough. And I'm going to finalize the challenge here in a minute. But I will say one more thing. Even though Maniacal got 2nd place in the tournament, he did win the predictions. So Maniacal is the champion of the predictions.
So wait, did we have a situation where it was a no situation for Maniacal? Either you win the tournament or you win the.
Well, no, he had Sloaters winning, but he had Sloaters beating himself in the final. So his bet on himself ended up coming through hard. And so by the time he got to the finals, he was locked in no matter what. So
gotcha.
But I will, even though the Dash tournament is over, and I've been on comms and I've kind of started things out all day. Tracy, I will let you close this out with your fantastic trademarked comments. So good night, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Tracy, take us home.
Alrighty then. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you may be.